Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to the show. I am Hari.
And I am Kimi. Today, we're taking a deep dive into an absolute icon of Australian automotive history, the Holden Commodore VE.
Yes, the legendary billion-dollar baby. It literally cost Holden over 1.03 billion Australian dollars to develop and test.
It paid off. Released in 2006, the VE was a milestone, the very first Commodore designed and engineered entirely in Australia.
Exactly. Previously, Holden had always adapted European Opel platforms for the local market, but for the VE, they completely started with a blank slate.
It is fascinating how they kept export markets in mind. For instance, the handbrake and center console were designed completely symmetrically.
Right. That smart design choice made converting the car to left-hand drive for export incredibly simple and cost-effective.
That led to cool international versions. It was badged as the Pontiac G8 in North America, the Chevrolet Lumina in the Middle East, and the Bitter Vero Sport in Germany.
Bitter Vero Sport? That sounds incredibly exotic for what actually started life as an Aussie family sedan.
It really does, but before it hit streets, the design process started in late 1998 as a simple sketch by Holden's design chief, Michael Simcoe.
Simcoe envisioned a muscular sedan with short overhangs and an aggressive stance. By 2002, they chose one final design path.
And since they only had 4 years left before production, they heavily relied on digital modeling software called Autodesk Alias.
They even took a physical concept to the Lang Lang Proving Ground skid pan to assess its road presence. Talk about dedication.
It paid off, but building the chassis was another hurdle. GM offered Holden their premium Sigma platform, which was used for the Cadillac CTS.
But the Aussie team actually rejected the Cadillac platform. They found the rear shoulder room was too narrow for Australian tastes.
So they built the GM Zeta platform, which based several global vehicles. It was exceptionally stiff, 50% stiffer than the previous VZ Commodore.
Much of that rigidity came from high-strength steel. The chairman, Denny Mooney, was also obsessed with quality, demanding panel gaps be reduced by 0.5 millimeter.
That structural rigidity really helped with safety, which had an interesting design backstory. There was actually a huge fight between the designers and the crash engineers.
Oh, the classic battle. What was the clash about? The designers wanted the engine pushed way back behind the front axle to keep those aggressive short overhangs, but crash engineers worried it wouldn't leave enough crumple zone.
Eventually, they compromised. They moved various components around, relocating the heavy battery to the boot.
This actually freed up critical space in the front and gave the VE a near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution.
That explains its praised handling. It achieved a 5-star ANCAP safety rating eventually, following updates like standard 6 airbags and seatbelt reminders across the range.
The VE wasn't just a sedan. The sport wagon, representing a $110 million investment, was a stylish departure from traditional wagons.
Usually, Holden wagons shared a longer wheelbase with their luxury Statesman, but the VE Sport Wagon used the sedan's shorter wheelbase to target retail buyers instead of company fleets.
To keep cargo practical, they did something clever. The tailgate hinge was positioned far forward into the roofline, allowing it to open in just over 260 millimeters of space behind the car.
That's incredibly tight. You could open the boot easily in a cramped garage. Then there was the VE Ute, which shifted from a traditional workhorse to a lifestyle vehicle.
Right, it shared the longer wheelbase of the Statesman and Caprice, but styled with a car-like rear bumper and horizontal taillights.
Under the bonnet, things got really interesting. Holden initially used the proven VZ Alloytech V6 to avoid launching a new platform and engine simultaneously.
Wise move. Later, they introduced spark ignition direct injection, or CD engines. The 3.0-liter CD V6 was widely described at its release as the smallest displacement engine in a Commodore since the 1986 VL series, though later import-era models eventually featured even smaller engines.
Oh, the VL, that is a major throwback. They also had the monstrous 6.0-liter V8, which later featured active fuel management to deactivate cylinders under light loads.
Though there were several recalls, including a massive one in 2007, affecting over 86,000 V6 models due to a fuel line rubbing issue.
Definitely a scary defect, but they bounced back with the Series 2 in 2010. It brought the Holden IQ touchscreen infotainment system, which was quite advanced for its time.
And they introduced E85 bioethanol capability for the 3.0-liter V6 and the massive 6.0-liter V8 engines to reduce emissions. If you wanted real performance, though, you had to look at Holden's special vehicles and their E-series, like the GTS and the Maloo.
Let us not forget the absolute king, the HSV W427. It carried a massive 7.0-liter LS7 V8. It produced 503 horsepower.
A total beast. The VE Commodore frequently topped the Australian sales charts, though it faced stiff competition from the Ford Falcon and, surprisingly, the compact Toyota Corolla when fuel prices spiked.
But the sport wagon helped them reclaim the top spot. Sadly, the era ended on May 17, 2013, when the final VE, a green SSV sedan, rolled off the Elizabeth assembly line.
Over 520,000 units were made during its 7-year run, truly a monument of Australian engineering.
It really was. It was a true pleasure sharing this history with you today. Goodbye, everyone!
This episode is based on the Wikipedia article Holden Commodore VE, which is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. This podcast was crafted using artificial intelligence.